This is the level 3 checkpoint video for episodes 4, 5, and 6. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this position? So here we're covering the 3 episodes, 4, 5, 6. We had tactics, we had endgames, and we have deflection, right? So here we have to find the good move, and actually I would consider this a brilliant move. Rook takes g7. Rook takes g7. They have to capture, because if not, here you're threatening checkmate. And what if they defended with the rook here on e7? Now you don't have to capture with checkmate, because they can just capture the piece back, right? So you can actually just go ahead with a move like queen h6, and they have to go back, and you can just retreat, and then that's just like mate in 1 coming up here, right? So they have to find a very precise move by just capturing the rook back. But here we don't have any checks here, right? By taking the pawn here on h6, or just like this, they can just always go back. But here we have to find the move queen f6 check. And here you might be thinking, oh, here now I have another check here, but that wouldn't really work because the king can always just escape, or they would probably try to repeat moves because they're losing in this position, right? So here you have to find the good move, bishop g6, threatening a checkmate in 1. And what happens if they were to defend this with the rook here? Now we just have a checkmate in 1 because the rook is blocking the e7 square for the king to escape. So that would just be checkmate in 1. They will be more precise by just moving the king to g8 and delaying the inevitable, where here you just have like a check with the queen and checkmate again here, mating 1 on h7. The current position is black to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. Were you able to spot the continuation in this position? So here they just moved their queen from e3 to e2. And here we have to be precise with what we're doing, right? So here we can see that there's a rook on e8, right? But we also have a check here on f3. So that will be a discovery attack on the queen. And we have to actually find that. We have to be precise with what type of checks we have, right? So here we have to find this move, knight f3 check. And the idea here would be, because we're attacking the queen, they're going to lose the queen anyway, so the queen will just probably just capture the knight here on f3. Here, if we were to capture the queen, they can always just give a check first and then just try to play on from there. So we have to be precise. Sometimes we have to not get too excited. Oh, there's a queen. Let me just grab the queen. But any forcing moves first. Let's look for the forceful moves first. Here we have, because we're going to lose the rook here on e8 if we don't do anything about it, we can actually just capture with check first, because the queen cannot protect that, right? So that way we don't lose our rook on e8. They just capture back, and now we can just capture the queen, and they cannot capture us back because of the pin. The pawn is pinned here. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. We're able to spot the continuation in this position. So this one's it's very tricky, right? Because we're going against the bishop pair, and we only have a minor piece and a rook. But here we're winning if we're precise. If we're not precise enough, we might just draw the game or just blunder a piece here or there. Okay, so here we have to find the first move here, rook a7. So let me make sure, rook a7, it's a very good move, because we can see that the bishop doesn't really have many squares to go to, right? So it will be like only, if we go here, they can just capture the bishop, and we can capture the bishop. If they go to f1, that's pretty good for them. If they go here to b7, we can just capture it back. And if they go to c8, that would be a mistake, because we can always, let's say, let me show you. We can always just pin the bishop to the king. If they can try to get closer, we always have something like this, right? So that would be a mistake for them. They'll probably just try to run away or fly away here. And here we have the move attacking the bishop on b2 by doing rook a2. Rook a2 attacks the bishop. Same idea, right? So the bishop, if it goes anywhere here, we can always just capture the bishop, or actually not here, sorry, just like c3, a1. They'll probably just try to retreat all the way back, right? All the way back. That'll be good. But here we have to be precise. If we were to do a move with the rook here, they'll probably try to find a way to, let's say, if we go like a rook a1, like right now, they have bishop, bishop takes rook. So that would be a mistake that we forgot that the bishop move, like the bishop can move all the way on the diagonal of the board. So we have to be careful with that, right? We don't want to just blunder a rook for no reason like this, right? So here we have to be precise first by doing something like this, like rook check, right? So what happens if they go with king f7 here? Now we can just capture the bishop here in the back, and we're just winning here, right? So they will want to just keep their bishop by bringing the king to g7, and now this idea, now it's blocking the bishop from looking at a1. Now we just bring the rook to a1 because we cannot be taken by the bishop. The king is blocking. If they try to save their dark light square bishop, they can't, because look at all these squares. The knight's covering some nice squares here. This one's too. The king is covering this, and now the rook is covering this. So they are losing their light square bishop here, and we should be able to win the endgame, hopefully. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. We're able to spot the continuation in this position. So this one is white to move, and it's very tricky because the black pieces have a pawn, they have a rook, and they have a bishop, right? So at one point they can try to go turtle mode and then try to hang on to the pawn and try to just like cover up and try to block any checks that the queen can provide, right? So here we have to be very fast with this move, queen c5 check. Always check it, doing our checklist, right? Checks, captures, attacks. And this is a good move because we're blocking certain squares from the king, and the king can only go to any of these two places, right? So here, for example, if they were to move to a4, we always have queen c2 check, right? So it's like it's a fork here. We're forking the king and the rook and the bishop is a triple fork, and they would probably have to go with something like this. And here, to be honest, we don't even have to capture the bishop back. Here we actually have the crazy move, king c4. King c4 because the rook is pinned. And now we should be able to win the game like this, right? They cannot move the rook. If they do something with the bishop, we always have just checkmate in two, like this. So they'll try to avoid something like that. So they will probably just move with the king to a6. King a6, same idea here though. We all actually give a fork. Not forceful because it's not a check, but we're attacking the rook and we're attacking the bishop at the same time. Here they'll probably just give you a check with the rook, with the king, and we actually get closer like this. But now the bishop's still attacked, right? It's been attacked. So they would have to find this move, because what if they don't do anything about this? Let's say they go with something like this. We actually have checkmate we have checkmate soon after here by giving like some checks here on a4. If they cover like this, that's just checkmating one like this, you know. So they have to be precise to delay that checkmate. But here they'll probably go with something like bishop c7, and here we have the same idea. We give a check on a4 because like there's some squares, you know. Here, if they don't move the rook, if they move the king like this, you can always just give a checkmate to the king like this, right? So they'll probably just cover up with the rook. Now you have queen check here. They have to cover up with the bishop. And look at these squares. Everything's covered, right? The king cannot move anywhere. So we just finished the game with like queen c8, checkmate. The current position is black to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. We're able to spot the continuation in this position. So here we have to be precise. Any checks, captures, attacks? Do we have any checks? We don't have any checks. Any captures? We have capture this pawn, but that doesn't really do anything, right? Now, any attacks or threats? Yes, we have a few attacks, right? But the best one is actually just finding the knight f6. Knight f6, the good thing about this move is like now we're attacking the rook. And the rook has to move somewhere, right? If the rook moves somewhere here, we can just capture it, win any piece that we want, and we're winning the game. So here they'll probably just capture the pawn on a7, but now we have to be precise with the next move. The next move has to be a check, very forceful here. And the idea is that these pawns are covering some essential some good squares, like g4, like f3, and the king cannot like stay stick close to the bishop to like defend it. So they'll probably just move to like g2 or something and then just win the bishop like this with a knight. With knight takes f4 check. The current position is white to move. Try to find the best sequence in this position and write down your answer. You may stop the video now. We're able to spot the continuation in this position. So here we have to be we have to consider our checklist, checks, captures, attacks, right? We can see that we have a pawn here on h4, and we have very good bishops here looking at along the diagonal. We have some knight jumps, and we haven't castled our king yet, which means that we can consider certain sacrifices like the Greek gift in this position. So here we can actually go ahead with the Greek gift. Bishop takes h7 check. Very forceful, very nice. And the idea is that if they were to move something like that, you can always just like bring more pieces into the attack or just bring the bishop back, and you're actually winning. You know, like it's very winning in this position. Okay, so like the most common move here would be like for the king to just capture the bishop here on h7, and now you have the knight g5 check. And what's the idea of this? We have knight h5 check. What if they capture with the bishop here? Now you have a checkmate in 5. Here you would just capture back with the pawn, and now just giving a discovery check. You know, if the king were to move somewhere here, you can actually just start the journey of the king going to the center of the board with the queen here, only move, and you have a checkmate in 2. Queen h3 check, and then if they were to move here, you have a checkmate because everything's covered. Look at this, it's very nice. So if the king just moves to this square, now you also still have a checkmate like this. Everything's covered. Okay, so that's the idea of that. So they cannot really capture, right? So they would, like, the most common thing would be for them to just retreat all the way there. Now you just bring your queen, and now you're threatening checkmate again. The knight's covering here, h7. You're looking at the queen at the square, h7 square with the queen, and here they would probably just capture like this. You just capture back. What if they try to have some like breathing room, some squares for the king? Now you have to be very precise here with the next move, g6. You don't have to do en passant here. En passant is not forced, you know, sadly. But and also if like you do en passant or something, they don't have to capture back because they would just lose the game with a checkmate in 1. They would probably try to like do something else, you know, try to like run away somehow by sacrificing the knight like this and things like that, you know. Like if you capture like this, they can always have like a little breathing room for their king, and they can kind of like escape, right? So, you know, like it starts running away, and they're fine. They're still playing, they're still in the game, right? So here you capture back. You don't have to do en passant. You can just push to g6, and now you're blocking all this breathing room for them, right? And the idea here would be they would just have to like just give away their queen. You can just capture back, and then there's nothing else they can do, because you're gonna just give a checkmate. What if they try to sacrifice the rook here to be able to like have the king run away? Now you just have checkmate in 1. Okay, and be careful being like not here, right? Because they can actually just move their king. Now if you give a check, now their king runs, right? So you're winning, yes, but you should just like finish the game as fast and as accurate as you can.